the story of George Washington's plight when he was fighting through here.
When he was crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, and then the first type...
But all of a sudden, Godzilla comes out of the Delaware. Like what?
Yeah, and then he pulls out a lightsaber and starts killing Prussians. It's like, it just doesn't... It doesn't make
But then zombie redcoats came out of... Like what the fuck?
Yeah, it... And that's what this is. I mean,
yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Too Much Film podcast. And I was gonna say that before I said the name that we missed an episode last week. You know, a lot of shit popped off in our lives. If you saw the little short that I put out on the channel last week, but it's all good, guys. Don't worry. We're coming back at you with a great episode. We got 3 things we're talking about today. We got, first of all, Bad Batch. The first 2 episodes of that show. We're going to talk about the Demon Slayer movie. And finally, we're going to talk about Yasuke, the Netflix anime. And in addition, we'll do a couple more comment comebacks for some of our videos on AOT 139. You guys keep sending in some trash-ass comments, so we keep having to reply. Like, I'm sorry. So I guess all that being said, as I briefly move the mic forward a bit, we'll get right into it. We'll start off talking about Bad Batch.
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't. It was nothing surprising to me. It was granted, it flowed from the end of the Clone Wars and fit into Order 66 pretty much flawlessly. But beyond that, I really didn't care for it.
Interesting. I mean, so far I've enjoyed it. I think that the first episode was significantly better than the second episode.
Yes, definitely.
I think that because, personally, like, some people, they've said that the first episode got boring as it went.
It did.
I don't mind talking as much, like, when they just talk and talk and talk in Star Wars. Like, it's interesting enough, so I think it does get a little boring, but, like, not boring to the point that I don't enjoy it.
I will put it this way. I fell asleep for about a quarter of it.
I see.
Yeah, but it was from the part when they were, like, on Camino and, like, meeting Saw Gerrera. Okay. I, like, fell asleep for that portion, and then I woke up for, like, the last 15 minutes. But it was also a very long episode.
Yeah, well, 70 minutes to start is definitely,
It's very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, the first half was amazing.
Yeah. And then, the second episode was very much, like, I would say, like, I feel like they're getting through the annoying phase with Omega, because every single animated show has had the kid character who's annoying for, like, the first season or first 2 seasons, and then by the end of the show they're insane. Like, you love them.
They actually develop.
Yeah, which I think it's getting a little old. Because
it's the same style. It's not, like, brought about in completely different ways. It's generally, like, the same way.
Yeah. That
they're brought about and developed.
Yeah, and I would say that my main problem with the fact that and this is early. It could be totally different. Like, it could very quickly get to where I want it to be. But I think since it's clearly meant to be Clone Wars Season 8, except the timeline doesn't allow it to be Clone Wars Season 8. Mm-hmm. Like, it's supposed to flow that way. And I think considering that, they should have done a better job at making it more tonally consistent with the end of the Clone Wars. Because, Clone Wars starts off... I would never say it was full on for kids. Or, like, for little kids. Like, it wasn't a baby show at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely younger. Like, it was more...
It was definitely towards a younger audience, yeah.
Where towards the end, it was more of, like, a older teen to adult type thing. I mean, you have people...
Well, I feel like at that point, it was meant to captivate the younger audience and then keep that same audience interested throughout.
Yeah, so exactly. and then I think when you bring it to, or when you then transition it into, another show that's supposed to be a direct continuation, going back to,
reverting isn't necessarily a
like,
good thing.
it should keep the tone. Now, I'm not expecting them to redo, like, every episode has to be better than the Siege of Mandalore. Like, that was meant to be insanely good.
Oh, yeah.
This is meant to be the start of something else that I'm sure its finale is going to be great, which, like, I'll talk about my theories later, but I think there's a lot that they could do that would be really cool.
This is just one of the shows where I'm essentially watching it to watch it. Like, I'm not super invested in it whatsoever. Like, I'm not going to do what I usually did with the Marvel shows and be up at 3 a.m. watching it. Like, it's just not that show for me.
At least not at this point.
I don't think it'll ever be that show for me. It never... This show just doesn't seem like it will be. It's not my peak interest. Like, if you're going to show me, like, after the... Like, I'm going to be real with you. Rebels is more of that show for me than the Bad Batch is.
Interesting. I mean...
Because the concept behind Rebels is just more interesting. I'm less invested in on clones than I am Jedi.
Okay, I mean, we differ a lot. I mean, for me, it's not even necessarily about the clones. It's more about the time period. I think it's something that is interesting to see, like, the beginning of the Empire.
I would say it's, to me, the least interesting part of this interesting time.
Okay.
I would rather see, like, in Rebels, surviving Jedi. You know what I mean? I would much rather see that than that clones essentially fleeing and being on the run. Because that's what it is at this point in time.
Yeah, but I don't even think it's going to necessarily be that the whole way through.
I hope it's not.
I think it's more going to be kind of just about the psychological aspect of, like, what it's like, when the clones, they're still clearly kind of Order 66, like...
Well, yeah.
But, like, once they...
Stormtroopers aren't a thing yet. They have to be.
But, like, once they get kind of, like, I don't know, just put back to normal, like, their reactions to that, just, like, the general feelings, I mean, I think that, like, my predictions, I think we're definitely getting a scene at some point where you're going to see them change armor. Like,
I would hope so.
And then I think the biggest thing that I think they're building to is the Kaminoan clone rebellion from Battlefront 2, like the original Battlefront 2, where essentially the Kamino makes clones to that, like, make their own army to try to fight the Empire, and, like, I could see that being a huge thing. Like, that could be, like, the end of the show event.
I would hope it'd be something that grand.
Yeah,
because just as of right now, it's like Omega's just annoying as shit, and they're just it's essentially like almost like a Mandalorian type deal where it's like, oh, we go here. Oh, we have to do something. Oh, on to the next place. Oh, we're here. We have to do something. On to the next place.
Yeah, I could see, like, that's a problem that I could see. I would almost rather there be, like, some kind of arc structure. Like, even if it's always following the Bad Batch, like, I don't want it to be like, oh, yeah, it's just each episode is its own thing.
Which, if you think about it, that's what the early Clone Wars was.
Yeah, but even then it would be like...
It'd be mini arcs.
Yeah, like 2 episode, 3 episode at most.
But even so, it's like, to me, that's not an arc. That's like half an arc.
Well, I mean, anime arc would be like that, but I mean, really it's just semantics, really, like,
It's just, it's not very fond, like, I'm not very fond of it. Yeah. It's just that way. Like, it worked when I was younger, it doesn't work now for me.
I mean...
And that's just the point that I'm at.
I'm fond of it in the later seasons, like when you'd get the 4 episode arcs that essentially you could just watch that as a movie if you wanted to.
But like 4 episodes, like that's like I feel like 4 episodes should be like a minimum.
Yeah.
Like 2, 3.
The only one that I'd make the exception for 3 is the Maul takes over Mandalore.
Yeah, but that's important.
Yeah.
Like that's very, very significant.
Yeah.
To not just that, but like the overall show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it would be... I mean, there's things that I want them to do, and I don't know if this is a good idea, but I kind of want them to find a way to tell the Clone Wars arcs that didn't get told. like the cool ones that we've heard about, that like the Maul or the Son of Dathomir arc, which that's the one like that ends in a fight between Maul, Talzin, Grievous, Dooku, and Sidious. Like that I want to see that.
That would be cool.
Or like the thing with Ventress's like last arc, which that would have been an 8-episode arc. Like that one.
Yeah.
And stuff.
But that's
like
actually
that.
interesting and in depth. You know what I mean? It's not just kind of like I don't know. In my head, the shorter arcs are just more shallow because I mean it has to be more shallow. It doesn't have as much room for content.
Yeah, although I will say that like the one thing about Clone Wars is that there's certain arcs that you don't like. You'd have to watch it like you'd have to jump around a lot for it to be the arc. Like you know, say you have like the one about like Domino Squad, which is like Five's Echo. You'd have to watch like season 3, episode 1, then go season 1, episode 6, I think, and then go season 3, episode 2. And then like somewhere in the middle of season 3, like all stuff like that. That you could say is an arc, but like
it's all over the goddamn place.
Yeah.
So it's just that like, as of right now, it really just seems like early Clone Wars to me, where it's just kind of like makes sense, but also is just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I have hope that it'll get. Well, I mean, I think it's good right now. I don't have any real problems with it right now, but I still think it'll get better.
I'm hoping it will get better because as of right now, like it's nothing special to me.
Yeah,
it's nothing outstanding. It's nothing over the top. It's just there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the tone, like, I don't know, I like the first episode, but I'd have to rate them separately because the second episode.
I like the first half of the first episode. Like, if they cut it at like 30 minutes, that episode would have been amazing.
Yeah. Well.
And then they just kind of went on, and I mean, the Crosshair betrayal was the most predictable thing I think I've ever witnessed in my life.
I mean, I knew it before the show came out because they kind of accidentally revealed it in a trailer. They're like, oh, look at this cool dude with Crosshair's exact armor, but it's a different color. I wonder who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, literally, as soon as he said "good soldiers follow orders,"
I was like, "Yep, it's done."
That's him.
Yeah, like I swear that was like the first line he said too.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yep."
Yeah.
Done.
Which, I mean, what's funny is I think there's a lot of. Like, have you seen all the people complaining about how they changed some of the stuff from the comics?
No, I just really don't pay attention to it.
All right. So basically, there were, there was a Kanan comic that told his Order 66 previously.
Yeah.
And there were I think 4 changes that they made, and basically,
I know the Bad Batch wasn't there.
They
originally.
weren't. The clone armor color was different. I think. His master's lightsaber color was different.
Yeah, it was blue. Wasn't it originally green?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, I would say because it's an interesting dilemma, and I kind of agree with both sides. Just because.
Yeah.
I mean, because I agree. I don't if I was into the comics more, then I'd be mad because it's hey, this stuff's supposed to be canon. But
why change it?
Yeah, but then I also see the perspective of don't let a mediocre story in some comic that 1% of the fandom reads, not even, ruin what you could do in a more widely appealing.
See, but I feel
story.
especially less of the clone armor color and whatever, but Deepa's lightsaber changing from blue to green, to me that signifies a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
even just on a blunt scale, blue and green in canon they mean 2 completely different things.
Yeah.
Just changing that means a decent amount.
Yeah, which I mean that's a good point too.
So
I mean, I think it's yeah, it's tough because I do see both sides, but I think just because I'm not somebody that really read that comic, it doesn't bother me that much. I mean, really for me it's any moving story in Star Wars, animated or live action, that takes precedent. Unless I don't like it, then I pretend it doesn't exist. But ignoring that, essentially, like, but then if it's a book or a comic, like, until that is proven otherwise, I'll consider it canon. But, like, as soon as somebody comes out and says something contradictory, it doesn't bother me. I just say that's it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, especially with Star Wars now and what was canon before Disney took over and what's canon after Disney took over, because Disney would just go on a rampage. It's like you just don't really know anymore what's what is canon, what is not canon, and everything. So it's just kind of like whatever at this point. Like, as they're coming out with stuff, that's canon.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, because I think the main problem was, like, when Disney first bought Star Wars, they had said, like, okay, we're going to do a Lucasfilm story group, and we're going to ensure that, like, every single story from now on is part of one universe. It's going to all connect. It's no contradictions. And they're going back on their word, which people are mad, but I don't, like, that's what I expected. Because you'd get to a point where it's like, okay, if you want to tell any story in this era, you're going to have to contradict something.
Yep.
And I assume that, like, people are never going to want to give up on, like, the Empire. Not to say there aren't other cool eras. Like, they could do a lot with the Old Republic.
They could do so that, like, in a perfect world, that's what I would hope they would do.
Yeah, but still, people are gonna want to see, like, they want to see Darth Vader. 3 or 30 years from now, when they have nothing to do in that era, people are still gonna want to see new Darth Vader stuff.
It's just this thing where, especially in the Star Wars fandom, people aren't fond of change.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because they're not fond of change, but then when things don't change, they get mad.
They get mad, exactly. Yeah. Because it's like, I'd love some Old Republic stuff. Like, that stuff is so interesting. Or, like, early in Yoda's life.
Yeah. Like,
those pieces could be so interesting. But they're like, Darth Vader, the Empire. I'm like, oh, yeah, we've seen 50 million pieces of film from that. Let's do something else.
Yeah, well, I mean... And that kind of mentality does concern me, because I want to see new concepts done. Like, and I don't think that I think they're too afraid to do it. Like, for instance, the Kenobi show. I want that to be a very, like, a psychological thing. I wouldn't mind if there was no actual fight. Like, maybe in, like, memories or something they could have fights. But, like, I wouldn't mind if it was literally just him meditating, walking around, dealing with, like, his trauma.
That's what it should be.
Yeah, like, it doesn't need to be like, oh, I need to go fight people.
Or maybe be like him protecting Luke.
Yeah.
And have some, like, scenes of young Luke.
Yeah, or something like that. But just, it needs to... I don't want it to be anything grand scale. I don't even want there to be, like, a concrete villain. Like, maybe you have, like, there's, like, some bandits that are gonna go, or, like, sand people are gonna go attack Luke.
So I was about to say, like, that would probably be would be the extent of it.
Yeah, I don't want it to be like, oh, Darth Vader's gonna come and I need to go fight him. It's like, no, do not do that, please.
Because Vader did not do that.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Because, like...
He hates sand. He's not going back there.
Yeah, and if he did, it would be with the Death Star. Like, I'm just saying. So I really... I don't know. I just think, like, they're too afraid to do anything that might be off-putting to, like, some people. Where I'm just like, no, just start now with the mentality of, like, certain Star Wars stories are not going to be, like, spaceships and lightsabers. Like, some of them are going to be... quiet, different styles of movies, and that's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I know, especially from what Ewan McGregor has said about the role, of reprising the role, is that, I mean, because he studied Alec Guinness to be able to play Obi-Wan, but now this is, like, Alec Guinness's era of Obi-Wan that he's diving into. So, I mean, he's enjoying it from, like, an actor point of view, but of course from an actor point of view is different from, everything else. Yeah. So, I mean, I did see, it was on Jimmy Kimmel, it was one of the Jimmy goddamn late night shows. He was saying that on May 4th he apparently filmed a scene with someone very significant to Obi-Wan's character. So, of course, you'd think, right, I heard someone say Satine. I'm like, nah, that bitch is dead.
Well, unless it's a flashback.
Unless it's a flashback.
Which I'm like, I mean, there are some, like, did you ever see the cast list when they dropped that? Like,
a little bit.
Okay, because there's only 3 people who, like, we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Uncle Owen.
And Uncle Owen. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone else were kind of like, who is that? I don't know. And like there's one person that people are like, she's like who this actress, she said that she uses lightsabers too, so that it's either a young Ahsoka or an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Like that's about it.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if an Inquisitor is sent to Tatooine.
Yeah, but then of course you wonder like if the Inquisitor gets killed there, then they would probably send more because they'd be like, okay, someone's got to be there.
Yeah.
So I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Like I'm leaning towards Ahsoka for that particularly. And then, I mean, there's people that could be Satine, which I'm like, I wouldn't mind Satine being in there.
In
like,
flashbacks.
In flashbacks, yes, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shit. Like, honestly, I'm surprised that there hasn't been someone that has, like, used Satine for something. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like, I for a while, I've thought, like, I'm surprised that there wasn't, like, some author that was like, I'm gonna do, like, the time that Obi-Wan and Satine spent together.
Yeah.
Like, when, like, he was still a Padawan, and, like, when they first met, make, like, a romance novel about that. And I'm like, I just feel like they would have done that already. But
that would also be another interesting time for them to cover is like more Qui-Gon.
Yes.
Like that is one character that everyone seems to like, that everyone would not be upset with more content on.
Bro, yeah, he the thing is,
and Liam Neeson has literally said all they have to do is call him and he's back on board.
Bro, he better be like, cuz he's not on they didn't put him on the cast list for the like what they released.
Yeah.
So either they're trying to keep it secret, which I hope.
That would be great.
Because...
That'd be a nice surprise.
Yeah. Because obviously if they're like, oh, Liam Neeson's in it, wonder who he's playing. Like,
Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like young, like Padawan, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Like, that would be cool to cover.
Yes, it would.
But they're like, no, Empire.
Yeah.
Rebels, Resistance, Darth Vader.
It's just too. I mean, you even look at the sequels. I mean, it was the safe way of going, and it turned out bad because of that. I mean, it's
I'd say the only thing that's extremely debatable that could be really good, could be really bad, is The Last Jedi. It's the only thing that's like you could actually form a debate upon.
There's things I respect about The Last Jedi. Like I think that the cinematography is fantastic.
It's great.
Some of the ideas, like the environmental, like for instance, Crate, that is a dope planet.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, like things that happened are dumb, but like the planet was cool.
Like just some plot points are just bad,
or like just poorly thought out. I mean, things like my whole problem with Haldo, like literally could just be saved by her instead of just being like, I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
It could be like, oh, I'm not gonna tell you because I think there's probably a spy on board because that's why they were able to tell us, like, the spy would have contacted the First Order and been like, yeah, we're here, and then they show up.
She's like, fuck you.
Well, because then that's
basically what it was.
Yeah, but because in this case, like, it's understandable that Poe did it, and then you're confused when he's then, like, made to be in the wrong. When, like, essentially, like, if you had made it like, oh, she gave a valid reason, then
like, okay.
Well, then him going and being ridiculous or like going off and doing the reckless thing would have actually been realistic growth. Like, I can't watch that movie and believe that he grew, but he grew, but just in a bad way. Like, I just like that ruined his character.
Yep, and when that also ruined Finn's character.
Because Finn didn't have much to do, and that's not because I like John Boyega.
Yeah,
I think he's dope. I think Finn had a lot of potential. He's the only character that was a new character.
Yeah,
I mean he
completely new, different that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, like, and then they're like, all right, he gets his full arc in the first movie. Then he regresses in the second one. Should have died. That would have been a good end to his character. Yeah. But no.
And Rose should not have existed.
Yeah.
Period.
Not to say, like, I mean, people they went too hard at the actress for that.
They always do.
Yeah. I mean, it's her, Kelly Marie Tran, I think is her name. And then you have, I mean, they did the same thing to Ahmed Best. Although thankfully now he gets a lot of praise. Yeah. It's just, it's all sad. But no, I mean, I guess with Bad Batch, yeah, I think it has potential. I think they're setting up things that could be really good, but I also think it could just be like episode 2 all throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have to see.
Largely.
Yeah.
Episode 2. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
How many episodes is it supposed to be? 24.
16 in the first. I don't. They didn't say that there's a second season, but I haven't heard anything that it's only one season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know that D. Bradley Baker, who's the Clones voice actor, said that it's like, I think it's the thing he's most proud of doing, which
But what type of standpoint is that from? From a voice actor's point of view? Because that's pretty good. He's essentially playing 5 different characters.
I don't know. Let's see.
Because if you think about it, he's just voicing every member of the Bad Batch and all of the clones. Like, from a voice actor standpoint, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, he is very impressive. I mean, he's just good anyway. But yeah, honestly, this would be so much easier if we had a dude who
could do that for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, just take my word for it. I think it was something like he thought it was good. Like overall, it was a very good thing. So
and of course, the voice acting in these things is always great. So if it's coming from a voice actor, he's probably putting that from a personal perspective as a voice actor.
Yeah.
So I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, this work is going to be amazing. It's like, oh, your work could be amazing in voice actor, but the work itself could be subpar or average.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just hope it gets better, but I also do have that gut feeling where it's going to be like an episode 2 for the majority of the series.
Yeah. Or I think or the third possibility is that it's episode 2 for like the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then around like season 3 it elevates again, which I still think that's the wrong way for them to have gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as long as it's never to a point where with anything with Star Wars, as long as it's not like blatantly contradicting like one of the other shows or movies, then I'm fine. Like, even if it's subpar and I didn't enjoy it that much, it's not going to piss me off unless it's like bad and then also making other things worse.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It was just nothing surprising to me. Like, it was cool to see like Kanan's like Order 66 story essentially.
Yeah.
And like the immediate aftermath of it from the clone point of view, but just really beyond that, I'm just like, all right, this is more of like a background thing for me. And while I am playing a single player game and I have that on, it's just nothing really that I can focus in on.
Yeah.
Because if I can focus in on something and it keeps me captivated for the 24 minutes that I'm watching it, it's good.
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm looking at my phone, doing this, doing that, it's just nothing special.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as long as the stuff with Tarkin's cool, the potential Kaminoan stuff is cool. I mean, the Bad Batch is like they're likable enough. Like, I don't have any problem with them. Yeah. There's certain things that I like more.
Seeing Cut again was pretty cool.
Cut, yeah, because it's nice to know that like he was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like there's still risk and everything, but
yeah, definitely. And did you see the theory that Omega is Phasma?
No, I didn't, but maybe. I mean, my thought is that she is, like, she might be like force sensitive. I feel like that might be her.
Because, like they said, the Kaminoans don't do anything without a purpose.
Yeah, like she has to have some kind of power, and like considering that she knew Crosshair was gonna betray them, and like, just generally seems like. It seems like she's going the Rey path, but she's actually gonna have a real explanation for why she's good at stuff, like, and not have it be a last second, like, oh yeah, she's Palpatine.
Yeah. She's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that theory was interesting, that she becomes Captain Phasma, and like that's the whole reason why Phasma has like the black and red like cape thing.
Yeah, that
and
would
I was
be
like,
cool.
that's kind of interesting, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather the connection until they make the sequels better. I'd rather the connection stay to a minimum.
Same.
But anyway, we're running out of time before the break, so I guess final verdicts for this for the first 2 episodes. I'd say episode 1, I put it at about an 8.
Wow.
Episode 2, put it at about a 5.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Episode 2 is about a 5. I'm only putting episode 1 at about a 6.
Okay.
It's just not like the first half is like in 8, but that second half brings it down to a 6.
Yeah. Well, second half didn't bother me that much, but
I fell asleep during it. What
I saw
exactly
it 3 times. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah.
With that, guys, we'll head to our comment comeback right about now. All right, guys, and welcome to your break programming. We are breaking at the moment, so yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. All right, so we're gonna get into your comments. Once again, this is some AOT 139 stuff. So obviously spoilers. If you haven't seen that, you're just watching for
Still
the
getting
other
comments
stuff.
on these damn videos.
Yeah.
It's been like a month since we came out with them.
At this point of recording, we basically almost have 1,000 views on the first clip. So thank you, and also fuck you, depending on what you are. But I'm sorry, no, it's all good, guys. As long as you're respectful in the criticism, which some of you guys were, that we don't care. But
yeah.
All right. Anyway, so getting to the first comment, I got one from Chris the Chilled, who says AOT fanboys spelled weirdly versus AOT critics. I'm the latter. Okay, no idea what your point is. Like,
why comment?
Yeah, I mean,
why even bother?
It's like, okay, good to know.
Yeah,
like that's all I get from that. We got one from Roro Sammy, who says trash with a sick guy about to puke emoji. Thanks for the input.
It's your opinion, and you're probably an elitist, an Attack on Titan elitist who wanted Eren to kill everyone.
I mean, just once again, it's like, all right, make a point, but if you want to say if you're talking to us and saying our video was trash, then I don't know, say why it was trash. Say oh, you guys didn't talk about this, or this point you made was stupid, and here's why it was stupid. That.
But
that
people aren't smart enough to do that, so that for some people that's asking too much.
Yeah, well, it's not even I don't know, just. I don't know. So your point is wrong. If this was a debate, you would have been smoked. You get 8 minutes to talk. We get up, we talk for the full 8 minutes, have a full on discussion. You get up and say trash, and then go back to your seat.
What do you expect people to applaud?
I don't know. And then there's a guy after that said tell him, who was Chris the Chilled, who was the guy that responded before. So yeah, essentially, once again, 2 people made no points.
We're essentially wasting their own energy and time and our time.
Yes. We got one from this guy, Trainer Grimm, who said, ending made sense, execution did not. I don't hate this point.
Yeah.
I think that, because we'll get into this in a sec.
At least this comment has some sustenance to it,
Yeah, because Isayama, in an interview recently, said that he regretted some of the chapter.
He added 4 pages.
8.
8, yeah, it was something, yeah.
And now this has been taken way out of context, and I'm just going to put these on screen now. Under one of our comments, there was a big back and forth between some of us, or some of you guys, where talking about how somebody said, see, even Isayama said it was trash.
No, that's not what he said.
What he said, everyone's been taking this out of context. The people that didn't like it, they're like, oh, I can use this to back up my views. It's no. All he said was that he thinks that some of the things that he did, or that he was trying to do, were a little bit out of his skill range. So he didn't execute it exactly how he wanted to.
Yeah.
The ending was not it wasn't oh, see, I should have had Eren kill everybody. That's what I want.
No, that's not what he's saying.
He literally just said oh, I made a mistake here, it was too difficult for me
Which
to draw.
He's been doing throughout the whole series regardless. He'll come out with the chapter and then be oh, I wish I would have added this, and then adds it for the volume or adds it in the anime.
Yeah. Literally he has essentially 3 chances.
Yeah.
You know, he can fix things in the manga or when the manga volume comes out, And then he can work on the anime, which it's not going to be just him. Like, he could sit down with, like, the whole production committee, and they could sit down and be like, okay, here's what didn't work. We're going to work together to make it work better.
Yep.
I really, like, I think that the execution problem, like this guy, earlier said, I think it will be very, very fixable. I mean, because it's literally just execute some things better.
I should probably put it this way so that people, get it through their thick skulls. The chapter that came out is the first version. It's the first edition of it. And then essentially when the volume comes out, that's the second. And then when the anime comes out, that's the third.
And final.
Exactly. Yes. Because Isayama has been known to add stuff in the volumes and then add stuff in the anime.
Yes.
He has been known to do that on multiple occasions.
And, I mean, and even then, like, the anime is the final draft, but it's possible they could do more. They could at some point be like, we're going to put out an alternate ending movie.
Yep.
And you guys can be happy with that. You can say, like, okay, at episode 82, I'm going to switch to the movie and pretend that's how it ended.
Yep.
Okay, like, do that. Like, I just don't understand, like, I know that that's a hypothetical, but in general, I mean, you guys are just going way too hard on, like, this shit, but you're not making good points at this point because...
And your reasoning behind it isn't even that good.
Yeah, because you're kind of in the echo chambers. I mean, you don't... Like, and I would respect it if you wrote out a whole thing about why you thought I was wrong instead of saying, like, just trash.
Yeah.
Like, then maybe we could have a back and forth and it would be a good discussion. And, like, we maybe both come to, like, maybe you'd like it a bit more. Maybe I'd see more flaws in it. Mm-hmm. But it's just, that's not good discourse. I mean, there's no reason for me to believe that you didn't just come onto the video, say trash, and then leave.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, you guys, I mean, really just
people would read the title and then just be like, oh, disagree, garbage, leave.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not, like, people will do that. I mean, you just got to expect it. But I just think it's sad because that's what the discourse has devolved into.
Yep.
When I think this is a show that is so interesting, you could have a great conversation about it.
Exactly.
Anyway, I just want to give a little bit of credit to this one guy who commented on the actual podcast, which I think he watched a lot of it. Alex Mercer 1479. He says, like, he agrees with a lot of the stuff that we said, and then he posts a very, very long thing with a lot of different paragraphs about his thoughts.
That is very long.
Yeah, so, I'll put that up quickly. You guys can pause and read it if you want. We're not going to read it because, I mean...
I haven't read this yet, so I'm definitely, after this is over, I'm going to read it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we appreciate your comment, man. I hope that you're watching this, and, yeah, like I said, we appreciate it. And yeah, guys, with that, as far as I can tell, that's all the comments we got from this week. Wherever you're watching the episode, whether it be clips, even though you're probably not going to see this if it's a clip, or if you do the thing that I hopefully will do where I put this section as its own mini thing.
Yep.
Separate, or like an optional separate thing, like a clip. I don't know what forgot the word.
Yeah.
But
segment.
Whatever it is, just comment. Like, literally. I mean,
yeah.
We're at the point, we're small enough, we can feature all the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's long, like, we're not going to read it if it's a massive thing. Like, we'll put it on screen. We'll read it beforehand so we know what you said. But, yeah, generally, like, whatever you have to say. Positive, negative, outright rude, like, whatever the fuck. Just put it in there. We'll talk about it, whatever it is. But anyway, with that, guys, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Alright, guys, we're back from the break. We hope you enjoyed that little break comment comeback. And we're just going to basically do our thoughts on both the Demon Slayer movie and Yasuke. So we'll start off with the Demon Slayer movie.
I mean, it's been like a solid week and a half since we've seen it. So, I mean, I obviously still have it, but I hadn't written any notes. It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great. Animation of Always by Ufotables, 10 out of 10.
Yep. Any of the, power effects and stuff like that looked great.
And it's like, especially with Demon Slayer 2, with the animation being just so good, it's ironic because the manga art is hot garbage.
Honestly, I haven't even seen the manga art. But...
It's like, granted, like the woman who's writing it, like Demon Slayer, like the story is absolutely great, like the world is absolutely amazing. Like she did a very good job, but the art is just not good.
That's too bad. Yeah, I mean, this movie, I think it exemplified all of the things I like about Demon Slayer and really kind of put a lot of the things I don't like on the back burner.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like for instance, you don't get a lot of Zenitsu, and whenever you do, he's in his like weird cool mode.
Yeah.
Like you don't get much of the annoying him. You know, it's just cool all around. You know, interesting demon power. Like you know, especially the first one.
Where
like
it is the train.
Yeah, or but
That's
not even
pretty cool.
that. But it was like just the idea of like using sleep and like you know having to escape that and then figure out like oh yeah if I just kill myself in the dream I'll be all right. Like yeah, I just thought that was cool.
I mean, Rengoku's a fairly cool character. I mean, and it's hinted at from the beginning that he's gonna die.
Honestly, I didn't even pick up on it.
Like yeah, I mean him. You know, when you first see him, he keeps going umai, and keeps saying like delicious. Yeah. That's what Japanese people do when they are eating their last meal.
Oh, interesting.
Well, they don't obviously go umai. They don't scream delicious, but like in Japanese culture, they want to savor and enjoy their last meal.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's essentially what he's doing. So from that point on, it's just hinted at that he's gonna die.
Yeah, and I mean, that last fight. I mean, I like the point that that gets made where basically it's like, okay, he is far better than you. Well, I don't know if the demon had a name, but it's like you know.
Akaza, I think.
Okay. It's like yeah, no, he is basically because like you know if the demon couldn't regenerate, he would have won.
Oh, obviously.
Like I mean, like without even questioning. But like,
obviously,
yeah, it's just the ridiculous sort of like advantage you get from being able to just instantly heal. Like you know, yeah.
And I was reading too, is that apparently there are these things called like Demon Slayer marks, and like Demon Slayer's essentially like it's almost like they're ascending to like the next level by getting this mark. And everyone's mark looks different. But Rengoku essentially did all of that without a Demon Slayer mark. So it's like essentially he did that like base level and did that much without that mark, which a lot of Demon Slayers will eventually like you know become to depend on it. It gives them like a range of abilities, and the Demon Slayer mark actually like allows like their blade to slow or even stop depending on the level of the demon regeneration. So like if Rengoku like had the Demon Slayer mark, he would have won.
It's too bad.
But he didn't, so you know he lost.
Yeah.
Which eventually I believe that point's made, like later on. But I was just interesting because like I saw something like on TikTok, right? I read an article, like ranking like the Hashiras, and it said like oh Rengoku like he was like middle like 5 or whatever on this person's ranking, and it was like yep, almost defeated an upper 3 demon without Demon Slayer mark. So then of course I looked up what the hell a Demon Slayer mark was and whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is too bad that he didn't make it, but no, I mean that fight between him and the demon was dope as hell. The animation, as we said earlier, was fire. Like I mean there was yeah, I mean really like I don't have much that I would complain about with this. I mean
yeah, no, there's nothing really to complain about with it. I mean I like the way they took Inosuke, like his character in the movie.
Yeah.
So honestly, I like him more than Zenitsu.
Oh yeah, I mean he's also annoying, but annoying in a less ridiculous way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're not going to get a scene of him yelling about boobs for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know.
And also, like, the movie showed a lot about Tanjiro. Like there was a lot of development in Tanjiro, and I mean, of course, like I read about people crying when like Rengoku died, and I'm like, listen, I'm like they didn't give us enough time to be emotionally connected to him.
Yeah, if there was more time, like, you know, like say that if they had, like, say the arc before the end of this first season, if it had been like instead of him being only with the butterfly one, if he had been like going around to different Hashiras, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna train with you, I'm gonna train with you for a little bit, and like maybe we actually had more episodes to, you know, with him and like learned about him and stuff. Like, I mean, you get that in the movie, like you hear about his past, but you don't get it to the point that it's like, oh, this is really you know, effective, or like, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's difficult just to like within the span of a movie care about a character like that, especially when they have limited screen time, because
Yeah.
I mean, like pretty much the whole fight with the train thing, like it focuses a lot on Tanjiro.
Yeah. I mean,
And
he's the one who kills.
And then like the
demon.
last fight is 15 minutes of like the last 15 minutes or so, like, you know, compared to everything else. Like,
yeah, and Tanjiro threw his sword, so he's like, oh no, he doesn't have a sword.
yeah, that the sword dude is gonna kill him.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
just saying.
oh yeah, yep,
Like,
yep. The makers, ugh, he's gonna be like, no sword for you, or
Yep.
some bullshit. But yeah, oh, like you said, there's just no complaints about the movie. Like it's been a while since we've seen it, too, so it's like we can't really get into too many specifics.
yeah, we should have. If things had gone better, we would have been talking about this last week.
Yeah.
But you know, just stuff happens. But no, I mean, I have nothing to complain about with it. It, like I said earlier, I think it had everything that I liked. Didn't have a lot of what I didn't like about the show. My only real question is how they're gonna work this in, like, you know, because say that like when season 2 comes out and like some new viewer watches it, like I would hope that in like Netflix or wherever you're watching it, like it'll go season 1, then it'll show the movie, and then season 2
Or like on Crunchyroll or something.
or something, just so like, because obviously, like, you know, season 1 ends with them getting on the train,
Yeah.
and then if season 2 it's like, oh, all this shit happened, and like if they didn't hear about the movie, they're not gonna know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think this arc works well as a movie, but I think it, like, you know,
It
could
does
be
work well as a
confusing.
movie. Yeah, but like you said, it could be really confusing when the new viewer is going to watch it. But I mean, with the views with anime movies right now, we're in like a weird rut where like Studio Ghibli hasn't come out with a movie in a long time. So it's really just like these anime movies essentially, not like a Studio Ghibli where it's like just the movie and like, you know, there's no actually like episodic side to it. So like there's the new My Hero movie coming out, which is going to be interesting because people don't know if like the first My Hero movie, I don't believe is canon.
I think that one's not. I think the second
One is
semi-canon. Like it's like an
No, well,
optional canon.
It's
like-
weird because the mangaka actually confirmed that it is canon. It's just not going to be in the manga.
Well, it's like one of those things that like you watch it, it's nice.
Yeah.
If you miss
Well, the
it,
second movie's really good.
yeah, no, I know,
Like
I know.
super good.
But like if you never knew that movie existed,
yeah.
and like you didn't, like, you wouldn't be confused because you didn't see it.
You wouldn't be completely confused, but like they have referenced like the child that Deku saves like in it, and they're actually like I saw like an edit. There are a lot of parallels between like I always forget his name. I just can't remember his name.
Which, like, what
The
does
second,
it look like?
the with the curlier hair, the little boy
Oh yeah.
in the second movie.
No, I'm not gonna.
It starts with a K or something. It's like Katsume or something. A lot of parallels between like him and Deku. So like there are actually theories going around that like if Deku's not the last wielder of One for All, that Katsume or whatever his name is will be the next one, and like all of this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if they, like, when My Hero, like the regular one's over, if they do like a new generation of heroes type thing, then like, which I mean, just because of money they could do, like, people think it would probably be him, Eri,
I would say probably because her quirk is too powerful.
Unless, well, yeah, that's the thing, because it would depend on if she learns to use it properly or not.
Yeah.
Uh,
When, like, and there are theories, actually, now that we're talking about My Hero, there are actually theories with My Hero that Eri does get to wield her quirk and actually sends Bakugo back in time to tell the first user of One for All that, hey, you can pass down your quirk. You might want to do that.
yeah. Yeah, that would be... I mean, that theory I've always found interesting. I'm not...
Because it's the second and the third users of One for All within the manga now that we just don't know. But, like, I always do this to myself. Where, like, I look on the wiki and then I just get, like, balls deep into it. Because, like, you know how, like, Deku... This is, like, a manga spoiler, but I think you already know this. Is that, like, he gets, like, Black Whip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently he gets more. This man is like he gets everything. Except for the first and second user, because we don't know who those are. But it's literally like apparently the situation he gets put in is literally like an avatar state.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Which, like, you can tell, well, not like the avatar state, but like he can talk to like the past users of One for All.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't be surprised if it were, like, inspired.
Yeah,
You know?
oh, yeah, with the My Hero creator and like the way he's worked, yeah, like that's completely plausible that is like the origination of it. But yeah, it's like, but My Hero is actually ending soon. Like the manga is ending soon. And like the Demon Slayer manga is already over.
Yeah, which
it's completed.
I think what, like, kind of getting back to the point about anime movies in general, like, I've noticed how they're getting a lot more, like, you know, the Demon Slayer movie is very unique to the point where it's like, it's literally, it would have been part of the show.
Yeah,
that's
like it's a
rare.
literal arc in the manga.
But we're getting to the point where they're getting to be more canon. I mean, especially you look at the JJK movie that's coming out, where that one's like...
That's going to be Volume 0.
Yeah, it's like, now if you didn't see the movie, once again, it would be like, you could probably live, but seeing it will enrich the experience a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why semi-canon is the wrong word for it, but I almost want to say semi-canon just for the lack of a better term. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I would say almost canon adjacent, maybe, is a better way to put it.
Yeah, it's just such a weird area. I mean, especially because, like you said, the JJK movie, which is covering Volume 0, is going to be coming out later this year. And also later this year, they're coming out with a Black Clover movie because the Black Clover anime just ended because it caught up with the manga. But they are planning on making a movie, so they're giving, like, you know, the manga just more time, and then they're going to cover a movie of that bit, and then, like, I don't know. I just, especially now that, like, anime is more mainstream, and now we're allowed to say that it's more mainstream because we have been watching it for, like, a good chunk of our life before the vast majority of people knew what anime was, before it was even within memes.
Or, like, before they knew of it as more than just hentai.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah.
Basically. So yeah, like, as it's becoming more mainstream, it's like they want to make more movies just so they can, like, you know, like, for example, a couple months ago, Demon Slayer was just in Miami for a weekend, one weekend, so it could qualify for an Oscar. So I mean, like, it seems like it's being more around this now than it ever was before.
Yeah, which that, if it gets like, would it be nominated for next year's Oscars?
I have no idea.
Okay, because I think
it's usually dependent on the release date.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I know that there's usually like a time buffer where it's like they won't consider something if it's like the month of, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, because I do think, like, it deserves to be at least considered, because like they're just like, okay, Pixar movies, which Pixar movies are great, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But, like, you know, I think anime movies get snubbed a lot. Like,
Oh,
occasionally there'll be like the one that makes it in there, but it never wins it.
Exactly.
I mean, the one that, like, there were some that were nominated this year that looked cool, but, like, I think Soul won, which Soul's good.
Soul, yeah.
But,
Soul's
like, you know, it's
good.
just, yeah, I don't know.
It's just, like you said, it's like these anime movies are becoming specifically more canon.
Yeah.
Becoming more important. Of course, like, for the American viewers, which America is now one of the biggest contributors to not only anime, but manga in general now. I mean, there's a manga shortage.
Yeah, I mean, I would believe it. I mean, it's growing more popular. I think that it's becoming more integrated to the point that like you're starting to even see like American mangakas pop up, which I'm kind of question like what's the purpose of that, because it's like you're
just making a comic book.
Yeah, you're making a comic book that goes backwards.
Yeah,
like, you know, I mean, it's ultimately, you know, manga and comics really are the same thing. Like,
just manga is originated in Japan. Like, that's literally the whole purpose of it.
But I mean, you can call it manga, like, if you're drawing in that style, I guess. Because, like, you know, a lot of comics have a more... They either go, like, more cartoony or more real. Like, you know, you don't get that mix of, like...
Of both. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, but, I mean, Demon Slayer movie was amazing. Like, it fit in well enough. And, like, I feel like at any other point... from what I know of the Demon Slayer plot, like, this was the only time they could have afforded to do that anyway.
Yeah, which they made the right decision. Like especially from a business perspective, like how it's now, like the #1 foreign animated film, something like that. I mean, they made a shitload of money. Hey guys, we've got that nice technical difficulties happening.
Always.
So anyway, we'll just quickly do our final verdicts here.
Yeah.
For Demon Slayer. And then we'll do the phone technique. But anyway, so yeah, I would give it probably like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it like an 8.5, a 9. Yeah. Like, I'll be real with you. No matter how good the plot was, or like if the plot was horrendous, the animation just carries.
Yeah. What the fuck? Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna just take a break real quick because we think the camera is either being weird or dying, so we'll figure that out. We'll be back to quickly talk about Yasuke before we finish the episode off. All right, and with those technical difficulties out of the way, finally back. Sorry about that, guys. You know, it seems like every time we got something that happens.
It's always something.
But anyway, we'll get into the Yasuke now. So
yeah, you can start.
Now, I'm gonna do a little preface for this. First of all, I was excited for this. Thought it was gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Second of all, right, whatever. Basically,
you can't even think. It's like the shit was so garbage. And now that you're trying to preface it,
what I was gonna say is that we have been we have had too many good things on this show. Yeah. Like we've given two. I don't think we've gone below a 5 ever. But today is the first.
Yeah,
you know, first time for everything.
Yeah, we're setting records here.
Oh man, yeah, that it was hot garbage, bro. Like it was.
It was an interesting concept. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I couldn't even finish it. I watched 2 episodes. I tried to watch 3. It was only 6 episodes long. I couldn't even do that. And it's rare for me just not to finish a show.
Yeah.
Like, if I start a show, I usually finish it.
Yeah, I finished it, but it took me it took everything I had to get through it. I mean, I can't, my phone is recording. I had some notes, but I'm just going to go with what I can remember.
Yeah.
First thing, all right, so it should have been a realistic anime. It should have been
historical fiction.
Yes, it should have been accurate. But instead, the creator's like, no, we're gonna go and put it in like things from every like popular anime. So it's like, oh, we need mechs.
Genre. Yeah.
We need like people
demons
with weird powers, demons.
Yeah.
I mean, the not good Christian priest.
Yeah.
Which I will say, the good thing, I don't know if you saw this, but he did get killed by getting stabbed with the cross.
Good.
Yeah.
See, I literally watched 2 episodes, so it's like that was essentially like they just introduced all of them.
Yeah.
And they were like, back in the village and whatever, and I was like, it's just so bad. As soon as I saw the mech, I was just completely uninterested in it. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, you should not cross historical fiction with sci-fi. Like, I'm sorry, you just can't do that. That like, disobeys genre laws.
Yeah.
At that point.
And unless it was like very clear that it was a different world.
Yes.
But like this is supposed to be Earth.
Yeah.
Like, it just, it doesn't make sense from that perspective. and then it doesn't make sense from basically every other perspective as well. Like it just is.
I'm gonna give credit where it's due though, because the historical parts, from my knowledge, were accurate. Like Oda Nobunaga, was known to be a very progressive person, and he like for example, Yasuke was a real person. Like he and he did allow women to be samurai, and he was very unpopular amongst the old-fashioned part of Japan.
Yeah.
Like that was all very true.
But it should have been the focus. That was like was like a background thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the main story was not interesting at all. I mean, like the thing with the girl, it really doesn't go anywhere that I found enjoyable. The whole time I found myself questioning like what is going on? Like the whole time it was just like people that are not developed at all. I think it could have been a little bit better if it were double the size. So you could have actually developed things.
And give some more background, because there's barely any background.
But even so, you don't need the mech. You don't need the magical powers. Like, just have it be a samurai anime.
Mm-hmm.
And look, like, I understand, like, having a lot of things you want to do, but do them in their own thing. Like, if this creator, say that if he made a good samurai anime, and then when he's done with this, he's like, I want to try making a mech anime. Maybe you'd actually have a chance to do that. But you're not going to get that chance now because this is so bad.
I mean, the animation was good. Well, Mappa does a good job.
Yeah, I mean, but even the animation, I thought it was a severe downgrade from all their other stuff. I mean, it was like
it was rushed. It was very rushed.
Yeah,
because they were doing this in the midst of JJK and Attack on Titan. Like Mappa has had a lot on their table.
And why would you put any effort towards this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just such a.
Well, it's because it's for Netflix.
Well, yeah, but it's like, well, but
That's
I'm saying,
why.
like, why would you put more effort into this when you have something like, you have two massive properties that you can put more effort into? Yeah. Like, I have
I think it was literally just because it was Netflix. Like, if it was anyone else, they wouldn't have given a rat's ass.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, JJK, I think the anime, because I've only seen the anime, you know, if you go back to second episode, whatever it is, you can see, like, I don't think it's that amazing in its current state, but it's still good. It's still worth watching, and I think it has potential. Obviously, AOT, I love it. Yeah. You know, like, so then you look at this. I mean, this is the worst thing that they've made, that Mappa's made. And
I've seen more things that Mappa's made than you. Like, I've seen God of High School, which, you know, at the end, that was early on. In their like production or whatever, and they were experimenting a lot. So like the animation there was very questionable. But like God of High School is still really good. Dorohedoro has a very unique animation style, and that's also really good. Like this is just the one thing. It's like, bro, you made something look actually pretty decent. That's actual shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just. I just really don't understand what this guy was thinking. Like, I can't. I mean, there's nothing... I've never seen something just so convoluted, so
a mess. It was just a mess.
Yeah, like... Yeah, I mean, it really, like, the more that... It's basically like the way... it's almost like a pizza place salad. Alright?
Yeah.
And, like, you know how it is? Like, you have like a regular salad. You got like lettuce, you know, you got like tomatoes,
onions, tomatoes, cucumbers.
But then they're like, I'm gonna add in banana peppers. I'm gonna add in weird like uncut olives.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add in like long carrot strips, which like, you know, those are okay, but like I'm gonna have a horrible salad dressing. So like what you just did, you just took an acceptable...
No, it was like, I'm going to use ketchup.
Yes,
as,
okay,
that's
the
salad dressing.
I mean, that's kind of unrealistic, but yeah, no, that works.
That's what this is. Unrealistic.
Yeah, good point.
That's what it is.
You take like a perfectly reasonable salad and you add in a bunch of other stuff that is completely unnecessary or bad for a salad. You make a worse salad. Like, even though there's more, and in theory, like, you know, you get more out of it from like a calorie perspective, that doesn't make it good. Like, like, yeah, this anime, it's like, oh, you get everything you could ever want out of any anime, but you don't get any of it well, You get it's just all bad.
Yep.
It was a waste of time. It was a waste of excitement. I thought this was a really cool concept.
It is.
You know, I didn't even
Super cool.
Yeah.
In a very amazing time period in history.
Yeah.
We don't have much content, or at least fictional content, on like Lord Nobunaga. Like he's a very important person in Japan's history.
Yeah.
And they just kind of like wiped their ass with it. It was like, all right, here you go.
Yeah. It was a. Yeah, and I mean, I do feel bad because I think the creator tried to make something cool, but I don't. I mean, I would question if the creator even likes it, because I don't understand how you could. I mean, and to be fair, like maybe it was just like Netflix only gave him 6 episodes, or maybe he was like, I had an idea for like 24 episodes, and I thought it would work a lot better had I had more time to do everything, but I don't even trust that. I mean, it's just not. It was not good.
Not good at all. Like, if you're going to make something historical, make it historical and make it realistic. Don't add any sci-fi, fantasy bullshit.
Yeah.
Just make it realistic.
Yeah. Or just, like, make it clear what it's supposed to be. Because, like, the trailers did not imply at all that it was going to be anything other than a historical thing. Like, because, you know, I don't mind, like, if you went and say, hypothetically, like, I'm sure this movie exists, like, the Revolutionary War, but with like future technology, like for instance, like but if it was going into it and that's what you're expecting, if it's supposed to be like a a crazy movie, like that's fine, like that but
make that clear.
Yeah, like don't have it be like, oh, the story of George Washington's plight when he was fighting through here,
when he was crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, and then the first type.
But all of a sudden, Godzilla comes out of the Delaware. like what?
Yeah, and then he pulls out a lightsaber and starts killing Prussians. It's like it just doesn't. It doesn't make.
But then zombie redcoats came out of like what the fuck?
Yeah, it, and that's what this is. I mean, it's just, I really don't know what they were thinking. I don't think I've seen one person say this was good. Like, I've seen a few reviews. I'm
gonna be, IGN overrated this.
Yeah, and then they underrated Falcon and Winter Soldier, bro.
Yeah.
This was.
I don't know what drugs they got their employees on, but get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah, honestly, I mean that. I don't know. I just feel so bad. I mean, this is like, I mean, it's rare to see, like, getting into, just because IGN reminded me of this, like, any of the, like, politics side of this, like, obviously, like, it's rare for any anime to have, like, a black main character. Yeah. Like, I mean, you look at, it's usually, at best, a token black guy. Mm-hmm. And, like, obviously, like, I thought, it's like, okay, this is a cool guy. It's a cool concept. It's related to Japan. Like,
it's actually like somewhat historically accurate.
Yeah, like
or so it was supposed to be accurate.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something that I thought like it would, if it was done well, it could have been like a great stepping stone towards like better representation in anime.
Yeah.
Which like not that that's something that I like will die on, like the hill that I'll die on. Like if anime isn't diverse, I can live with that more than other people can. But obviously like. It would be nice if it were diverse.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, if you're going to watch, I'll just make a suggestion, If you're going to watch a historical fiction anime, watch Golden Kamuy. It's like 37, 36 episodes. It takes place right after the Russo-Japanese War. And, like, the Japanese people are, like, actually Japanese. And, the Russians that are in it are Russian. Like, there are distinct differences between the two. They talk about like the native people of Japan, like the Ainu, and all that sort of stuff. It's actually good.
Yeah, because they didn't try to add in mechs into it.
Yeah, you don't see some random guy pulling out like a laser gun, and mowing down people or robots with it. Like you don't see none of that. Like it's actually historically accurate.
Bro, you should have seen how happy I was when, like, later on in the show, you didn't see this, but one of those people just gets shot and, like, suddenly dies, and then the mech guy was so pissed that he decided to go and kamikaze himself into
a
crowd. Yeah, it was just, yeah, not good.
Yep.
Not good.
And now that like Netflix just came out with this, the final season of Castlevania comes out on Thursday or Friday of this week, and it's making me nervous.
Well, I mean, thankfully, like they're very different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be nervous about that.
Yeah, but it's just like really, you really like shit hit the fan on this one, huh? Like that's all I can say. It's just that it's bad.
Yeah.
Like Yasuke would be such a good character, but of course you get minimal background, minimal development.
I mean, it seems like he would be cool, but like you
and
just
interesting. Yeah.
he doesn't really change throughout the story, and like you don't get a lot of development about what he was like before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just I really don't have too much more to say. It's just not.
It's just don't waste your time with it.
Don't. I mean, it's not worth it. Yeah. I mean, I would say my final verdict, like, if I was being generous, I'd give it a 3.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, generous is.
But
like
I
a
want
3.
to give it a 2, so I'm gonna go 2.5.
Yeah, I was gonna like give it around a 3, just kind of for like the slight historical fact that's in it.
But you didn't even get far enough to see how ridiculous it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just no. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean that's just like bad. Like and like I said, I was excited for it.
Yeah.
For the 2 of you out there that enjoyed it, good for you. But yeah.
I'm glad you like very unnecessarily extravagant things.
Yeah, well,
that's what it was. It was just unnecessary, and they did it in a manner that made it bad. They probably could have done it in a manner that made it at least decent. But no, they were just
they could have easily done it. Like, it just had to be simpler. It had to be a better story just about, we've gone over it. I mean, yeah.
It's just bad. It's just bad. Don't waste your time with it. If you're going to watch something historical that's an anime, watch, like, Vinland Saga, or if you're that focused on it being in Japan, watch Golden Kamuy.
Yeah.
Like, it just, those are, like, Vinland Saga is, like, my favorite anime of all time, and... like, you know, like, that's not even about Japan. That's about Vikings. Like, come on, if the Japanese people can do something that's really good, that's not even their own culture.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
Well, anyway, guys, so with all that, we'll probably, go ahead and end the episode here. Not exactly sure what we're going to be doing next week. We have to figure that out.
I would personally say if you could watch Invincible.
Well, yeah,
even though it's a bit later, everyone's still on that wave right now. Everyone's absolutely obsessed with it and really into it. I've already seen it. Tom hasn't.
Yeah, which really the only reason I haven't is because I've been lacking on signing into Amazon Prime. That's about it.
Yeah.
And Yeah, may as well. Assuming that I have the time, which I probably will, I'll do that.
So, I'm not going to lie, considering that you watched, like, the 4 episodes of Yasuke just, like, in a row, you could probably do the same with Invincible and get it out in 2 days. Yeah. Or if you spread it out.
Well, at least that I enjoyed. I mean, that,
And you're going to enjoy Invincible.
Yeah.
It's just that good.
Oh, sorry. I should say at least that I will enjoy because I did not enjoy Yasuke.
Yeah.
No, that was painful. But no. So yeah, whatever it ends up being, guys, we'll have it for you. There will be an episode, even if it's short and about something. Absolute worst case, if we need to, we'll do a Bad Batch episode. Like, that's an option, but I'd say we'll probably do a mid-season review of that when we get to episode 8, and then for the season finale, we'll talk about the whole thing, the whole season.
I mean, but also, when's the halfway point to My Hero? I think we still got a couple more episodes.
I would assume, yeah, we'll do that soon. Let's see, we got obviously when like Loki comes out.
The My Hero movie we'll have to do this summer too.
Yeah, there's a lot on the way, but it seems like it'll be a decently quiet week depending on what we do. But
yeah, we're in like that lull now. I mean, especially because Disney's now giving us just content pretty much consistently.
Yeah.
There's all of that.
Yeah,
I'm really trying to think, because I know like the Assassin's Creed expansion just came out.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to go and finish the game.
Same. Yeah, I haven't even finished it.
Yeah, that game. I wish the story was more, like it was more varied. Like other. I mean, that was. Yeah. I mean, we don't have time to get into that, but
yeah,
I mean,
but
that was.
I'm just trying to think about like things that are coming out.
Yeah.
It's not like I said. This is just kind of like a lull.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird time of year for stuff to come out. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, spring anime usually is always kind of like mid. Like there's not much going on about that. But then once summer hits, hopefully that's gonna be introduce a lot.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, yes, if you made it all the way here, obviously, like, subscribe, turn on the bell so you never miss any clips or full episodes when those come out. And yeah, there's really not that much more to say, guys. Yeah, so thank you guys for checking out the episode. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. It's been a great discussion, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.